the scrapbook spread, which, for example, will look a little something like this, which, you know, very yummy, by the way. Love everything I've done with this so far. Both sides, really. This is Finico. They're both my C's is Finico, and this is Rabbit, but spelled differently. And someone asked for one, for a character trade, and they gave me a theme, and a character, obviously, and, they said that they wanted it to be themed around Link Click, which is an anime, I think. I don't know. At first I genuinely thought it was an aesthetic because of the objects they were adding onto it, but it's not. It's an anime, and they picked it to be similar to these two in like the one color and also line art and stuff like that, instead of it being something similar to, that's wrong, to this, which was fully colored. Ignore that. I don't like how the face turned out. And had all the stickers around it. I'll just have to be more aware as to what kind of stickers I put and what kind of stuff I put in the background, because the colors they said they wanted to work with were yellow and or gold, blue, black, and white. And they weren't sure how that was going to work, but I have some ideas, so I'm going to show you what I'm going to use for this real quick. For starters, receipt paper. Receipts have never done me any wrongdoing, and I have in fact used them in multiple other pieces so far, so I'm going to use them again for this piece. Pokemon sleeves. I always save these, not just because they look pretty, but also because I want to use them in my art. So I'm going to use this in my art because this is yellow and this is blue, obviously, and it just kind of matches. If I'm going to make this a double spread, that is, I don't know yet, we'll see. I'm going to use this, which is what is it, the box that goes around the candy that you get from the store, and this was something I got back from like Christmas, I want to say, as a stocking stuffer. I kept this because it looked pretty, for starters, and I knew I was gonna scrapbook it with something, and now I know. This thing, obviously. And I'm going to see if I can incorporate my transparent sticky notes. This is neon, but they're transparent. But because of how well they take pen, which is not that well at all, it like smudges the stuff, I'll have to see about that. I don't know yet, we'll see. Okay, so with the mic, it actually is so much more shit, so I'm just gonna keep doing this without it, because my mic is silly and stupid and it costs $10. $11 really, but who's keeping track? Who's keeping track? Anyway, no, I didn't end up using the sticky notes for like the exact same reason I listed beforehand, so that'll be fun, and you're gonna hear more of this voice, editing voice me, whenever we get to the sped up part later on. I will also be trying to use some other stuff that my friend bought me for, what is it, Christmas? Which is this kind of paper, where it just says like a bunch of motivational quotes and stuff in the background. And if I think of anything else to add, then I'll try recording that too. But for now, I will get back to you when I get all this shit set up. Hey there, editing me again. This, I sped it up a lot because it was way too fucking long. I think the total time was like an hour, 18 minutes, and like 20 something seconds, but I couldn't, I don't know. That doesn't matter. Anyway, what I'm doing right now is trying to make sure that the frame, the papers I'm using to draw the characters on, and the background all fit properly onto the page itself that I'm going to be using, because in the end I ended up just doing one page instead of the double spread that I usually do, but because it was just for one person and it was just one character, I just decided to make it one instead of the two, for personal preference really. And also, I just didn't think I had enough materials to make it a big old double spread, which is fine, because it ended up still looking good. And what I'm doing right now is trying to position the frame that I'm going to be using to put the characters in, and let them poke out of, to make sure it frames the orange and the blue from the Pokemon sleeves correctly, and it gets it it gets enough in frame so you know which colors I'm using and what kind of colors I'm going to be going for the piece. And what I'm doing right now is trying to make sure I glue, or not glue, but like double-sided tape the two ends together to make sure that they're lined up appropriately, and I don't have any weird mess ups or gaps whenever I put everything on top of it later. I mean, when I was thinking of this piece, I didn't really I didn't really have too much in mind. I mean, I knew I had the stuff in front of me that I was going to use, it being the Pokemon cards to represent the yellow and the blue, even though it's more orange than it is yellow, for the colors that they recommended me using. But it ended up being okay, because with the stickers and the stuff I did on top of it afterwards, it just kind of made it all blend in together really nicely, which is always really good and something you really want to aim for when you do these kinds of things. And what you see me doing now is using this double-sided tape to keep the underbelly of the sleeves down onto the paper, because I didn't want that stuff lifting up when I was trying to put on everything else on top of it, which is stickers, the frame itself, as you can see, and later on the inspirational quotes and the characters themselves. As you can see me now, I'm picking out the inspirational quotes that I want to put on top of and around the characters, and I'm putting them on the available space above the spread, so I know which ones I'm going to be using and how big they are, and thus letting me know how much space I'll need ahead of time. I was trying to make sure I get the right kind of stickers to go on top and below the pictures that I'll be drawing. And I remember getting this whole thing of stickers as a gift from my friend over Amazon. If I find out what it is, or what like the big old thing was, then I'll take a screenshot and put it on screen right now. But if I don't, then I'll try linking it in the description, because I mean, like, I don't know about other people, but for scrapbooking and just doing cute stuff like that, these are lifesavers because they're so cute and simple. They're not brand specific. And with all the variety of designs that they have, it really helps tie in big pieces like these together. And I'm trying to use them more because I have so goddamn many, as you saw before. Which is fine. And as you can tell, that's me trying to decide which ones are going where and how many I'm going to be using. And now we're getting on to the character paper itself, which is the receipt paper that I mentioned earlier. And I'm not used to, recording my scrapbooking process. I do beg for forgiveness when it comes to me trying to like get everything angled right, because it looks a little sloppy, but trust guys, trust, it's my first time, don't get on my ass. But yeah, this is their character. What is it called? Sachiko? I think that's how you say it. I could be wrong, but that's their Sona / main OC that they wanted me to draw into the spread. And I had this one idea where it was two versions of their Sona reaching out to each other, which I'm showing on screen right now. And I was going to do that, but then I realized that if I was gonna do this with two things of receipt paper, then I guess, I don't know, it just wouldn't really be that interesting. And then later down the line, I didn't even end up using more receipt paper because of how thin it was. And even if I am gluing two pieces of the exact same piece of fucking receipt paper right now to make sure that I had enough space for the girl to outstretch her hands, I just didn't feel like doing that again, but with colored pencil. And I did use a replacement, which I will show in like a little bit. But yeah, I just didn't feel like doing it with this piece, which is something that ended up benefiting me in the long run. This is just me drawing her, and she was a lot of fun to draw, even if the paper itself did limit me a little bit. And it's a bit of a shame you don't really see the bottom half of it as much, but it's okay because, again, the whole piece just kind of ties in together really nicely. This is me cutting her out, nothing too special, but sometimes depending on what I'm drawing or what I'm doing, I either make sure I get every single detail out of the character or I just leave clumps. And in clumps, I mean like just small little gaps of uncut pieces from very tight corners, because you can see I'm using adult scissors and I'm not really used to doing all this, so I do not want to risk chopping off some very important pieces of paper from the character. And right now, you can see me trying to fit the character into frame and see how I'm going to position them. There is a little bit of me tinkering around with it and trying to see how much of the character I'm going to put through the frame and how I'm going to make sure it touches or is interacting with the other character that I plan on drawing, which I later, as you will see, do not use receipt paper for the second character. I do use something else, which I ended up cutting from one of my big clumps of scrapbooking stuff in my little scrapbooking bag, and it ended up being some black cardboard, which wasn't that thick, thankfully, but just long enough for me to draw something on. And as you can see, that's me using and testing out some white Posca pens, and with said Posca pens, I am drawing the character again in a much more somber, sadder, I don't know what else is a good descriptor, I don't know, I guess shut down version of herself. And this was done because I wanted to kind of do something a little different. I didn't want her to reach out to her. I just wanted her to kind of just be like, a polar opposite to what the character in the light is doing. And just kind of, I don't know, show a bit of a difference between the two. And cutting out this one was a bitch. Oh my god. It wasn't the worst, but because it was on like such thin piece of cardboard, it tore in some places, which was really scary because I didn't know if it'd show on screen or not, and thankfully it doesn't. But it did making the very tighter, smaller cuts that much more scary, and it did make me have to go back and touch up the white Posca lines that I did before. And this is me trying to figure out how I'm going to tape both characters into the thing, which thankfully I did figure out eventually. I don't know if I was gonna really make them both pop out of the frame at first. I think initially I was just gonna make them look like they were looking at each other through a window or something like that and have their arms reach out to one another. I just kind of like the idea of them being a little more three-dimensional than that and kind of mimicking like that of a pop-up book or something. And this is me trying to decide which stickers will go around, behind, and on them, because I have so many, and the person asked for some very specific kinds. And again, the color, blue, black, white, yellow. So this is me putting that on said characters and around said characters. And I'm not speeding this part up because it was just so fun to do. That and the last video was like about 52 minutes long, so of course I was gonna speed that one up. But yeah, this was fun. And I think this is the part that I like the most, aside from drawing the characters. It's just putting everything together, which one can argue I've been doing that the entire time, but I mean like the little details that just draw your attention back to the main piece and kind of wrap up the picture in one big, nice, pretty bow. I like doing it. I don't know if anyone else likes doing it, because I haven't really seen a lot of people do what I do online or whatever, but it's fun. And if you haven't scrapbooked before, I highly recommend it. So I'm just gonna stop yapping now and let you enjoy the rest of me tinkering with the texts and stickers for the rest of the video.
No quiero llorar, quiero descansar. Son tantas las voces que no puedo silenciar y yo no quiero hablar. Perdona, mamá. Perdona, papá. Nada fue su culpa y algún día entenderá. No puedo encajar y estoy cansada, cansada de mí. Y estoy cansada, cansada de mí. Me voy, me voy. Me voy, me voy. Pienso en partir y ya hasta le escribí carta a mis amigos que no lloren si me fui. Cartas que me guardo porque nunca me atreví. Y estoy cansada, cansada de mí. Y estoy cansada, cansada de mí. Me voy, me voy. Si quieres bota mis cuadernos, si quieres borra hasta mi número del celular, si quieres prende con mis cartas una fogata a ver si logras calentar
lo que no pude con mis besos y los abrazos que nunca te supe dar. Pasamos de decir te amo a no poder decirnos sola cómo estás.
Tú y yo pasamos de ser todo a nada, de comernos con la mirada, y ahora estamos frente a frente y ni siquiera puedes mirarme a la cara.
Vivíamos de boca a boca, los labios no querían soltarse, y ahora aquí en el mismo cuarto no podemos respirar el mismo aire. Llévate el tapete, llévate mi vida que agarraste de juguete. Llévate ese par de anillos que nos comprometen y aunque no quiera perderte te diría vete, pero el que se va soy yo.
Y cuando me vaya me llevo el reloj, pa' llevarme el tiempo que pasé contigo, que no fue perdido. Todas las memorias las llevo conmigo.
Tú y yo, pasamos de ser todo o nada, de comernos con la mirada. Y ahora estamos frente a frente y ni siquiera puedes mirarme a la cara.
Complete. Or done. Whatever the hell you want to say. I finished it. And I think it looks really good. I kind of went a little experimental with the Posca pens that I was having at hand. I might go back and put some white or blue along the parts where the reel is to kind of give a little more emphasis like I did with the camera and the hourglass. But so far, I would like to say that it's complete, and hopefully they enjoy it because good lord, was this a bit of a hassle to complete, like background wise, but it's okay. I tried making it work. They asked for yellow flowers, hourglasses, cameras, tape, which I added in last minute because I mean none of the stickers really had any of that, and if they did, they weren't really in the color that I was going for. Like, see, this is a little camera. I managed to get that in there. But yeah, hopefully they like this. And yeah, I ended up really liking this with how experimental it was. Very cute, very cool. And I don't really know how to end this, but I hope you like it too. Bye.